I first got involved in photography, or was first exposed to photography, with one of my older brothers, who was a photography major many years ago at Columbia College down in Chicago. And he was mainly more of a fine art photographer. And it kindled an interest in photography, which I had as a hobby for many, many years. But it wasn't until I was in college, about midway through my college career at Valparaiso University, I took a photography class as kind of something fun to do for get credits and things like that, and found that I had a real kind of talent for doing photography. There were no photography majors at Valparaiso. We ended up individualizing the major, which meant that we created it, creating approximately half of my degree was actually in photography. The other half was a liberal arts background, so more social studies and classes of that nature. I ended up graduating in '88 with a degree in a Bachelor of Arts in photography. The reason I started a photography career was that I had nurtured a real passion for photography, and I really felt that I would have something to add with my career. And so in 1991, after a few years of working in another career path, I decided to start down doing a professional photography. I do really enjoy photographing kids. It's a lot of fun, particularly the 3, 4, 5-year-old kids, where I can play with them and kind of mess with them. But I also love to go out and use my camera as a way of investigating. I love going to places I haven't been before and using the camera as a way of recording kind of my adventure into a new area, a way of documenting what I found and what I've seen. Well, when I started my professional career, I had absolutely no interest. Back in '91, when I started down this path, I had absolutely no interest in photographing kids, families, or weddings. I was not of any interest. I did mainly corporate communications, industrial and product photography in Chicago. But when my first daughter was born back in '98, I started photographing her as just a personal project, photographing her as a baby and her growth, and I found that I really enjoyed the relationship that I had with her with that. I also started photographing our neighbors' kids and relatives and friends' kids, and really enjoyed it quite a bit. And so we decided to add that as a component to what our photography. Well, it really depends on the subject and where we're at. We have different approaches for both in studio, based on whether it's a family or a young child. If it's an individual, the child, we have kind of one approach, or whether we also do a lot of outdoor photography, and we kind of approach things a little bit differently. If it's a family coming in for, say, a family photo session, we usually start off with the family, because particularly if there's little children, we feel that the kids are already maybe a little nervous if they've never been here before. And that by starting off with the family, they're starting off in a place that's safe for them. And then we can move, after we've done a few different family groupings or posing, we can start doing stuff with maybe mom and the young ones, or maybe just the little guys or little kids by themselves. If we're outside, it's a little bit different scenario. It's more of an even play field, so we find places that have interest to the kids, and we can let them kind of guide us to locations. Of course, we know a lot of the different locations around here, so we kind of start off on a path that we know and hit certain areas, but the kids usually end up finding places that they like to be in, by rocks or, waterfall or something to that effect. And so that helps us out a lot there. Our busiest times at the studio are during the holiday season. We're actually starting in October. Late September and October, we start getting our early crowd or our early folks for the holiday season coming up. We usually feel that we have about 3 different waves. We have the folks that think everything ahead and have everything finished and ready for the holidays by Thanksgiving. Then we have our normal group of people that come in around Thanksgiving, and then of course we have the last minute folks scrambling to get a photo for Grandma the week before Christmas. So, but it's very hectic. We are kind of ramping up to kind of not seeing our kids and being home until sometime just before Christmas. So it's very busy. Well, we'd like to think we're doing well. In the economic times we're in, we're having to hustle a lot more to get the portraits in, but we're doing it, and finding new niches and new places to find the clients that we're interested in working with and who are interested in the kind of work we do. But that I really kind of think that's really not a new thing. That's an ongoing kind of concern, constantly developing new products, constantly developing our style, and watching the trends and what our clients are interested in, as well as reaching out to the community and trying to find folks who haven't heard of us. I think we stand out from our competition based on our not only the quality of the work that we do. We really put a lot more work into the final product, the final image, than many other studios. Many of the studios around here believe in a same-day delivery. I understand that there's a time and a place for that, but it really doesn't allow for really taking your time and working the image to making the best that it can be. We also provide a quality of service that a lot of other studios cannot. We block out more time in our day for our clients so that when they come in, they're our only focus. There's no waiting room here. They're not waiting for someone. Someone else is not out here sitting in chairs waiting to be next. So we feel that is a real benefit, particularly to parents that have new parents or parents of multiples who need to have the kids come in. They're ready. The kids are ready to be photographed. We photograph them, and we're on to the next thing. Any experience that can be had while they're in college, as far as gaining their lighting ability, really working on the lighting, because that's the thing that's going to separate. I think we've gotten kind of beyond this point where the newest camera is really going to make a difference in how the photograph looks. Obviously, if you're using a point-and-shoot camera versus, say, a DSLR type camera, the DSLR is going to produce better images. But once you get into that point, the differences I think are minimal. Of course, the newer cameras can do better at low light conditions, which might help with certain types of photography. But lighting is what is really going to separate photographers from one another. The better they're able to light a subject, the better they're able to read their subject's face and know how to light it, and to be able to mix lighting on location, both available lighting and the light that they bring in, is really going to make a difference in their career. The more they can do that now when they have the lighting gear, if possible, they can get their hands on the lighting gear without having to rent it, and be able to practice and try it out, particularly now with digital. In the old film days, we'd have to set up our set, shoot the roll of film, and we'd have to pay for the film processing and then get it back. And if we made a mistake, we wouldn't know about the mistake for 2 or 3 days, or at least a day for the processing, depending on the kind of film we were using. Nowadays, the response is instantaneous, so there's lots of opportunity to practice with all sorts of kinds of lighting, and you can find that kind of thing out quickly, make notes on what works for you, and notes on what doesn't work, so that you have kind of a recipe book. Now when the equipment may be easy to get your hands on.